Hey, all right, welcome back to our solar project. As some of you remember, as we left off, we're putting about 18 kW of solar, which is 45 panels, on the property here in Texas. But we wanted to know which panel to put on, so we put on two different panels with our installer, and we put on two different microinverters in one little section. So you see in the upper right-hand corner, and we'll zoom in, we've got a little test area where we're testing different combinations of panels and inverters. So the first thing we looked at is the REC and the QCell panels. They're probably one of the most popular panel combinations you have out there. They're both 400 and 405. It's about 1% difference between the REC and the QCells. The REC's claim to fame is it's got a big warranty. It's got this great efficiency, which means they're a bit smaller, which is really helpful on our roof. The 405 gives us a little bit more energy. Temperature coefficient is supposed to be better. So we like that panel quite a bit. But most of the installers were giving us the QCell 400, 405 panel. This is the same panel that Tesla offers. Looks to be a really good panel. There are three main differences for us on the panel, other than the maximum rated output and the size. We needed a smaller panel. The performance warranty for QCells is slightly worse than REC, and the temperature coefficient is different. The other comparison we wanted to do was looking at the inverters. So there are two different types of inverters that we looked at for this project. Both of them were Enphase products. The Enphase IQ8 Plus is what everybody was quoting. It's a great product, but it has a maximum power output of 300. And on a panel output of 400, the question is, well, why would you leave that behind? And when we did our modeling with NREL software, we noticed that there was some clipping. So that 300 you see on the screen became an issue. And our installer was kind enough to switch us over to the IQ8As for free. And so we came over to the IQ8As, which resolved the clipping issue. So now we're back looking at the top of the house. And you can see in the upper right-hand corner, there's one panel that looks slightly different. That is the QCell panel. So if you're looking at that three-panel set, the single panel in that set is the REC405 with the IQ8 Plus. And then on the left of that, you've got another REC panel, but that's the IQ8A inverter. And then the black panel, the shinier one, is the QCell 400, also with the Enphase IQ8A. Now we are in Texas, and it's been extremely hot. The install days was 104, 105. It gave us 102 to 104. Here's a closer look at these panels, along with the power that we produced during the period. So you can see in just about every occasion as we flip through the days here, this is the Enphase software, the bottom right-hand corner outperformed the other two, which is what we expected. What is interesting is how much it outperformed the other ones. If you look at the QCell and the RECs, if you take account the 400 versus the 405, they're performing identically with the same inverter. But when you look at the difference in the REC405 with the IQ8 Plus, there's about a 2.5% drop, which is significant. And I would recommend going with the IQ8As if you're putting a 405 watt panel on your project. So in conclusion, I think we made the right choice. REC405s paired with the IQ8As. If you watched any of our other videos, you know we did a bunch of work looking at different panels, different inverters, modeling the system, looking at shading. All of it was really helpful, but I found a couple of websites to be really useful. This one, Energy Sage, we're not sponsored by them, but they did a fantastic job of being a good reference and providing quotes from a lot of different vendors. So if you need some quotes from solar, I'm going to recommend Energy Sage. The other thing I'd mention is our installer, Texas Direct Solar, did a fantastic job of listening to us, making some changes, and indulging our interest in trying to figure out which was best. And I really think we made the right decision. First, we added brisket to the project, which is always delicious in Texas. Shout out to Aaron Franklin, who's inspired some of the brisket. But second, and in all seriousness, I think we made the right decision in terms of equipment. The REC405s are great panels. They look well constructed. The IQ8As are performing better than the IQ8 Pluses, and I expect we'll see that for years to come. So really happy with the installer, the project, and the power output.